Hello, Acolytes, and welcome back to Rogue Trader with Azula, where I have finally figured out why I couldn't pause my recording. It's because OBS doesn't like you pausing recording when you have the recording and streaming having matching stuff. And anyway, that doesn't really matter. What matters is we're headed to Rykad Minoris. And of course, we're going to be interrupted many times on the way there. Permission to report, Lord Captain. Members of a sacred cult operating aboard this ship have requested an audience. They wish to present gifts and introduce themselves to their new captain. What sacred cult? They call themselves the Blood-Spun Web. The cult defends the flagship from both internal and external threats. Lady Theodora held them in high regard and looked favorably upon their activities. I'm ready to receive them. I will commence preparations at once, Lord Captain. Those on the deck watch in awe as the final figure moves gracefully into a ceremonial pose. Some of the officers whisper in excitement, while others murmur prayers to the God Emperor.
The Undying Emperor commanded us to spin a web of blood around his children, and we obeyed. We obey still.
They fell silent as a tall young woman steps forward. She moves toward you soundlessly, the dim light casting shadows across the mask that conceals her face. The masked cultists repeat the words in a mournful whisper. We obey still.
Domin von Valancius, death has whispered your name. We disown Domin Theodora. We renounce our oath to her.
The woman's slender finger has been fitted with a metal claw. She points it in your direction and gazes at you from behind her bone mask with the cold, grim eyes of an assassin. She pulls out a sinister curved blade and similar weapons, and they appear in the hands of her motionless companions.
And now we give the gift of our blood to you. It is the gift of death. Death has whispered your name. The followers of the tenets of the web swear fealty to their new overlord and offer proof of their devotion.
Their blades sing through the air and rivulets of crimson flow onto the deck. The young woman bows her head reverently as she hands you a heavy parcel. The others bow their heads as well. They seem unconcerned by the blood that trickles down their fingers.
We give you a blade, the silent verdict. The Undying One has chosen you to wield this instrument of death. We give you one of our own, Kibella. She will be your shield and shadow. And we give you the blood of these traitors. The tenets of the web will purify their souls.
You have heard many stories of the death cults, about death cults such as this one. These devoted, holy assassins of the Imperium have turned death into a form of worship of the Emperor. They are exemplary slayers, invisible executioners, and the scourge of traitors, heretics, and fallen souls. Many righteous people honor them as votaries of the faith, while others see their fearsome rituals as frenzied spectacles touched by madness. Examine the cultists. The cultists are all voidborn. Their lithe, sinewy bodies are clad in light armor, which allows them to move with an acrobatic's nimble grace and strike with an assassin's swift surety. Their red and black vestments are adorned with sharp spikes and ritual jewelry. Where time and training have worn these garments threadbare, you can make out patterns of bleeding lacerations. Examine the captives. Prisoners cower beneath the weight of your gaze. Blood drips down the tear-stained faces of the captured officers, technomats, and workers. A word has been carved into each of their foreheads with meticulous precision. Traitor, heretic, apostate, renegade. The cuts have been diligently and regularly reopened to prevent healing.
These renegades committed treachery against their domin. Their lips once praised the name of Kunrad Voigtveer, but it is your name they will whisper as they cross over to the other side.
Interesting. So a death cult watches over my crew, and they who honor the Emperor through killing, who devote their every deed to serving him, sacred executioners.
The domin has discerned our essence. This is a great honor for the blood-spun web. We have woven the bays of this ship together with the threads of our faith for many years. We keep the greatest relic, his tarot, through which he sends us his blessed revelations. We obey the whispers of the Undying One. This is our service to him. This is our service to you.
How interesting. Devout assassins who believe themselves to be instruments of a higher power. They revel in violence and cannot tell the difference between bloodthirst and piety. They follow their faith blindly, unaware of how closely they tread to corruption and depravity. Look at them. They stand on the edge of a precipice. The smallest push will send them plummeting into the abyss. You could be their downfall. All you have to do is push.
A ringing sound fills your ears, deafening the noise of the world around you. Time goes still. A voice whispers seductively at the back of your mind. What exactly does a cult like the Bloodspun Web do?
The tenets of the web teach us to read the threads of the future and understand the hearts of others. When a soul is filled with the poison of corruption, we know its time has come. We bring liberation. 3 strikes, 3 rebukes, 1 blade. This is how we serve the Undying One. This is how we serve you and your flagship. But there are others, the virtuous martyrs who contravene his design without realizing it. Those who have come too close to faltering or committing an apostasy, but have not erred yet. We present such souls to the Undying One.
Heretical, give a bloodthirsty smile. Continue to serve me, dancers of death, but henceforth let my name be upon your lips when you shed blood.
Your name upon our lips.
The cultist makes 2 thin cuts along the corners of their mouths, sealing the vow with word and blood. Tell me about yourself, Cabela. Are you the leader of the Bloodspun Web, or its herald, or its servant?
I am the second spinner of the Bloodspun Web. The honor of this title is bestowed only upon those who have ushered more souls than... It is shameful to speak of one's own deeds. I'm here to become your shadow, not to make boasts.
Cabela stops abruptly. She touches a slender finger to the fresh wound on her hand and paints the symbol of a lock across her lips in blood. Nod towards the captives. Why have you brought this rabble to the upper decks?
So you may offer the souls of these traitors as a gift to him. You have the authority to order their execution. Their blood will bind us together through him. For the God Emperor, the Undying One is death itself. The Undying One is duty itself.
Capella touches her sharp blade reverently to her lips. The captives tremble in fear at the sight of the weapon.
Give the order, Domin. Let a spinner of the blood-spun web undergo the test of a sacred trial.
The others echo her words from beneath their bone masks. Undergo the test. I will judge the traitors myself.
Then, I will tell you of the treacherous blood that runs through their veins.
These wretched apostates were caught trying to sabotage the reactor. They are guilty of treason. I swear, we are not A woman in a tattered protective suit pushes forward in protest, but her movement is halted by the thin cord wrapped around her neck. You notice that all captives have been similarly restrained. The woman clutches her throat as a thin line of scarlet appears between her fingers. Theft of weapons, sabotage, and the deaths of the crew in Bay AL-82. Do you have any proof of these charges, says Honor Montag, or are such claims a result of cultic revelations? There is doubt in the Infernus Master's gentle voice. With all due respect, it's difficult to discern the truth of these accusations without evidence. Divine visions and dark portents may be reason enough for you to shed blood, but not everyone here shares your perspective. Enough, Heinrich. The Lord Captain will decide the truth of these claims for herself, says Jocasta Sarbach. Let's see, Capella. Is it true these things were revealed to you through visions? The practice of sacred divination using the bones and sinews of a martyr led us to the reactor room. This is true. But it is also true that I beheld the act of treachery with my own eyes. What do the accused have to say into their defense? Cords around the prisoners' necks are loosened just enough to let them speak. Have mercy! We're just technical tunnel workers. We were told to block the ventilation shaft leading to the reactor room. Fume leakage, supposedly. We didn't know we were doing anything wrong. We were just following orders. As for why we were holding weapons, that was, well, you know. The woman scratches her cheek nervously. She's lying, the injured officer scowls angrily. They smeared blood on themselves and crawled out of the tunnel wailing. Oh no, the ship's been attacked! There are enemies everywhere! Defend the bay! We rushed it off to investigate, and they used their cutters to break into the weapon storage at our guard station. They stole guns and headed straight for the reactor room. Bone and sinew revealed your hubris. You abandoned vigilance for the promise of glory. You do not give weapons to the traitor, but you left your post to seek a hero's path. Though you did not act with treasonous intent, you are complicit nonetheless. I will not punish you or your men. Continue your service. I hereby sentence the guilty officers to be shot. Take them away. Should be done with the rest of the prisoners, Lord Captain. Get this treacherous rebel out of my sight and shoot them too. Mercy, Lord Captain, mercy. Lord Captain has spoken, take them away. I could not honor you by ushering the souls of those traitors to the other side. This troubles me, for I wish to serve you as the sword serves its master. Will you make me your shield and shadow domin as a tool? Effectotum Genrox says, Your Ladyship, the spinners of the Bloodspun Web were watching, tracking, and killing Von Valencia's enemies long before the warrant of trade passed to Lady Theodora. However, their blade has also been known to cut short the lives of very upstanding persons. factotum swallows nervously, casting a fleeting glance at Cabela, but I certainly do not in any way condemn the deeds of the deeply esteemed cult. I am sure they must have had good reason. Stern-looking woman clears her throat. The cultists are the scourge of the seditious. They bring the unrighteous to ruin. The enforcers respect the blood-spun web, for we share a common goal, to bring his light and his harsh justice to the darkest depths of this ship. Scourge of the seditious or not, folk are afraid of them for a reason. A couple of watches ago, these spinners took a train driver to pieces for some kind of ritual. I don't know what old Malak did to earn that privilege, though. And who's going to feed his family now? Rick takes a drag of his Eho stick, exhaling the thick smoke through his clenched teeth. That's a lower decker problem. What matters is that the blood-spun web serves you faithfully, Lord Captain. Confessor Adalbert, plump old man, and the rich robes of Confessor adds respectfully, my predecessor's predecessor once delivered a sermon about how the spinners saved this vessel from the servants of the archenemy. The blood-spun web paid a price in blood, and a river of scarlet that flooded the decks from bridge to bilge. They became the blood of the flagship, the pulse in its veins, and the beat at its heart. Their great sacrifice earned them the favor of House Valancius. Let's see, you'll be my shadow, Cabela. Because I want to take your equipment. Cabela's movements are slow, almost rhythmic. As she removes her ceremonial mask, the dark shadows of her eyes accentuate the deathly pallor of her skin, which is covered in ritual scars. Henceforth I am your shadow, Domain Azula of Van Valancius, an instrument of death placed in your hand by the Undying One, for it was ordained, and so his terrors forspoke. The young woman bows her head once more. I also come bearing an invitation from the Vizier of the Bloodspun Web. He wishes you to know that the doors to the Undying One's temple are open to you. Are you suggesting the Lord Captain should go down into the depths of her flagship to search for this temple? With all due respect, the lower decks are for servants and crew. They are not a fitting place for her ladyship. Where is your temple located? I am not permitted to say. If you wish to find the temple, you must walk the path of Saint Ariane, the matriarch spider. Hers was the web that has become the blood-spun web. Your path began deep within the flagship, in the tunnels of the freight line, and that is where yours must begin as well. This journey will bring us closer to the thread of the web, closer to the Undying One, closer to understanding death. I will walk the footsteps of the matriarch spider. Your journey will begin in the darkness of the deepest tunnels. The Vizier awaits you. The cultists retreat into the shadows as Cabela sheathes her ceremonial dagger. Your blade awaits direction, Domain Azula. We will speak again when the time is right. But first I need to strip you of your equipment and see if I can upgrade any of my intentional rouge. Let's see, Spinner's Mask. That doesn't matter. Light Spinner's Breastplate will be quite nice. Spinner's Blade might be okay. Take your medikit and that blood file. Whatever. Anyway. See, that extra dodge and parry would be really good. I guess I'll replace the mesh chest plate of Sword and Board. It's 5% less armor, that's more agility, meaning more dodge reduction. Meaning you can hang on a little better. 10. Let's see. Actually, I'm pretty sure. Let's just give you that. Because I'm pretty sure the benefits, they don't stack, but they do allow you to, but like all of the, like the benefits from the spinner's blade should continue applying there. Let's see, Jocasta. All the people, don't really care to talk to them. And let's actually go ahead and detour from dealing with the Rykad Minoris. Let's see, Lord Captain's Quarters, Voidship Shrine. Actually, let's head there.
Let us not dawdle.
Prayer. You're such a prayer, the one you remember best. Oh yeah, it's a thing, isn't it? Although it's not going to be much fun. La Anima. But yeah, what I want is in here.
What a peculiar thing!
The power maul rests inside the glass. The inscriptions on the reliquary reads, I'm Wrath. I'm the cleansing. Whoever wields me walks in the footsteps of Furia.
We shall prevail.
Fate and fortune favor the bold.
So, F. Bing. That's A. That's U. 83. That'll be I. Slayer. R.
They say a little bit of humility never hurts anyone. I help others better themselves by wholeheartedly humiliating them at every step.
Well, what do we have here?
A level and a power maul. Unquenchable Fury. Maximum push distance is increased by 5 cells. Collision damage is increased. Actually, that's a way better. Let's see, 9 to 11 versus 8 to 12. I guess I'll keep the mono knife on. Maybe? Better armor penetration. Also the dodge reduction. So if I have a dodgy bastard, I can just stab him. Let's see, there's a bunch of stuff here. Not really too interested in...
Success is the only outcome I accept.
I guess if I'm gonna be...
Just as I planned.
Nice. Basically, I might as well get the XP for poking about. It's time to build. I'll be back in in an instant for you, but it's going to be a few minutes for me. Okay. Level ups have been applied. People going more into things, and I need to put Unquenchable Fury on to 84, since she actually benefits more from having a power maul. I don't know if this technically counts as a maul or a hammer, but regardless. And I'll go ahead and put the Wrath of St. Drusus on the offhand of 82, because she now has the ability to attack that for free whenever she parries. And you get the Silent Verdict, which is its own thing. Armor already applied, don't have any special stuff. I have a couple more med kits. Does anybody have... yeah, you need one. Everyone has at least one, if they can use it. And also grenades. Force, gas, and fire. Let's put the fire grenades on our Chief Pyromancer. I guess, force grenade on Jack. Tox grenade for Pistolier. Everyone else gets force grenades because that's all I got. And I guess an extra for Heedy 4 for now. Now then.
I always have a backup plan.
Bunch of stuff. Initiate Clotus. Lanky Initiate is leaning over the cogitator, an expression of extreme mental effort on his face. His fish-like round eyes peering into the screen. Grant me understanding, master. Grant me wisdom. He winces as you approach. Your ladyship, how can I be of service? It appears you are having difficulties. Nothing escapes your ladyship's notice. As it so happens, I am struggling to categorize 3 peculiar confessions. I wouldn't have dared to tell you about them, but I think they may have been left by senior officers, which would make this a matter of the highest order, one that is far beyond my meager understanding. These confessions, you see, are far from being examples of pious conformity. I dread the very thought of dissent or heresy poisoning the minds of the most eminent members of the crew, but I cannot change what I heard. He bows his head in reverence. I cannot share this with anyone but the Emperor's anointed, nor can I allow anyone but your ladyship to listen to these messages protected by the secrecy of confession. Let me hear them. Let's see, alleged dissent and pious doubt. One question has troubled me for years. Why are some destined to perish in the warp, while others must go on living and preserve the memory of the dead? Newer and more luminous souls have been lost, and yet I'm still here. Let's see, light static is distorting the recording, but you are confident that the speaker is male. Alleged theft of ship property. The orphans on the ship have already been provided with the bare essentials, but every so often I consider increasing their rations and ordering more sets of clothes for them. That will not replace the families they have lost, but it will improve their lives somewhat, especially given that the ship has enough resources to cover their comparably trivial expense. Despite the poor sound quality, you determined the voice to be male. Commerce test failed. You do not know who on the ship is in charge of the orphans, if anyone. Alleged coded message, irreverence. Lapbeard Kleppers display a high degree of socialization, both among their kind and towards their owners. These animals adjust well to avoid ship's lower gravity, since it is similar to their homeworld's conditions. Lapbeard Kleppa meat is edible, though should necessity demand it. The voice sounds muffled, as though behind a thick layer of glass. It is unmistakably a woman's. Step away from the cogitator. I'm curious to know who left these confessions. I will seek them out. Let's see. I suppose those confessions truly are special if your ladyship is giving them her personal attention. The initiate bows deeply. Never would I have imagined the rope trader himself coming to my aid. I will leave you to your concerns. I labor for the glory of the Emperor and House von Valencius. Now, let's see. Freight line. The bridge, where I think they're all up here. I might be wrong. If I remember correctly. Let's see, Epic Totem, Generous, Dead Rock. Let's see, Victus informed me about a problem with the servitors. What happened? You see, your ladyship, the ship's servitors have been malfunctioning as of late. They violate protocols, interrupt their tasks, observe crew members for long periods of time, and move erratically with no meaning or purpose. Danrock nervously pulls on his luxurious frock coat as if it were uncomfortably tight. Had it been a routine technical fault, I would have decided the fate of these servitors myself, but I deemed it necessary to notify you. I do not wish to hide such irregularities from the Lord Captain. If you wish to observe the servitors' unusual behavior before you decide their fate, that can be arranged. The majority of the defective units have been delivered to one of the storage compartments, pending your decision. I shall take a look at these servitors before deciding their fate. As you wish, your ladyship. When her ladyship arrived at the scene, she found the servitors in the same position that they assumed after they had been corralled into the bay, standing upright in a long, spiraling line, facing the center of their strange formation. The moment her ladyship crossed the threshold of the bay gate, their bodies jerked into motion, all at once, as if obeying a command. The servitors turned to face the Lord Captain. The technomats tasked with overseeing the defective units even reached for their weapons, but took several steps towards the servitors. Whatever the Lord Captain did, be it an incline of the head, a wave of the hand, or a step to the side, the defective units repeated it without a moment's delay or hesitation, like grotesque marionettes controlled by an unseen puppeteer. We observed this mime unfold in distressed bafflement for nearly a minute until the servitors finally came to a stop. Not sensing any threat from them, the rogue trader approached with confidence and examined the servitors. A visibly shaken technomap behind us proposed that the human souls had awakened within the servitors' bodies after a long slumber deep within their lobotomized brains. Formerly bereft of intelligence, they had attained awareness, feeling, and understanding. Reticle suddenly drew an iridescent blade, one I had seen before, as if following some unheard command, and plunged it into the nearest servitor. The moment the blade sliced open the pale flesh, a wild howl washed over the cargo bay. We heard the screeching and crackling of servo motors. As if having regained the ability to feel pain, the wounded servitor struggled to open its own mouth, but all it could muster was a stifled moan of horror. The Lord Captain's victim fell to the middle deck, and all the other servitors came crashing down with it. I felt an otherworldly, bone-chilling cold. As I met the technomat's fearful gazes, I realized that none of these present had any explanation for what had just transpired. The engine seer prime proceeded to the center of the spiral of servitor bodies, and stood over them grimly, studying their lifeless faces, and spoke thus. This tech phenomenon warranted comprehensive study. Further investigation has been rendered impossible. Perhaps it was a trick of my imagination, but I thought I caught a semblance of sorrow in his gaze in that moment. The Lord Captain, seemingly not attaching any importance to the situation, sheathed the blade and left the cargo bay without a word. Well, that's dealt with. Let's see. I'd like to order the shipping and transportation of some goods. Oh! Nice. So we can just talk to Generous if we want some fencing body glove, huh? Stalker gloves. Zoa pattern auto gun. Low damage. Decent range though. No suppression helmet. When the wearer kills an enemy in a 1-cell radius with a shot, they gain +1 resolve until the end of combat. Get a power maul. Oh good. Power hammers do Countess Power Moth. Good. Soul Pattern Chainsword. Some very expensive stuff. Reflective Shield. That could be nice. Medal of Alacrity. When the wearer targets an ally with Bring It Down ability for the first time in combat, the ally gains an additional action point. Toby Pattern Greatsword, don't really need that. Pneumo Boots. That would be very nice. You got Veil Render as well. Nice Force Sword. Reaper Cape. Plus 12 dodge reduction of the wearer's melee attacks. A lot of stuff I want. Let's see, hide untradeable. You got some more heretic trophies. We don't have a whole lot of worth. Anyway, have you made a confession lately? Your ladyship, you're truly masterful at springing unexpected questions on a man. I must admit, I don't quite understand this one. The orphans on the ship have already been provided with the bare essentials, have they not? The factotum fidgets nervously with the rings on his fingers until he musters the courage to reply. I'm not prying to how your ladyship found out about my confession. I suppose it raises some questions for you. I'm willing to allocate extra resources to provide for the orphans. I marvel at your generosity. Will there be any specific instructions, your ladyship? I trust you with this matter. Spend as much as you deem necessary. Factotum's eyes glisten sentimentally. Children will know that you are their benefactor. As for me, I can assure you that I will find ways to procure enough funds to cover the expenses. Yay! Let's see. There is the Vox Master. What's up? Connect me to the vessel's main channel. I wish to bolster the morale of the crew. It is done. You address the crew with a rousing speech and hear your voice roll through the ship, reaching even the normally quiet quarters of the vessel. When the broadcast ends, you hear distant shouts of approval. Lower your voice conspiratorially. The lop-eared clippers, the confession. I assume you heard my confessional message. Victus replies without a hint of awkwardness. Do you wish to talk about it? Your confession perplexed the initiate. I don't want to delete it and we shall forget about it. Will do, Lord Captain. And that's it. There. I want to say the other one is Helmsman Revor. Have you made a confession lately? Thank you for your answers. Definitely you. So not going to be Argenta. Maybe Heinrich? Might have been. The Infernus Master nonchalantly lights an Eho stick from a thermal cutter and spreads his arms in welcoming gesture. Heinrich Montag at your service. Smells of cinders and Eho in his face is sooty and his belt is laden with a number of heavy tools. It would have taken him for labor if it weren't for all that. I could have sworn I'd already spoken to him. Have you made a confession lately? Sounds like the start of an interesting conversation. Looks you directly in the eyes. No, I have not. I are some destined to perish in the warp while others seem to go on living. Okay, wasn't him. Expanse Factotum Jocasta, definitely not. I think it was someone else. I mean, obviously. Also, apologies for all the distractions, but that's how it goes. Beth Chapel? Going with the Hades and the Grumpy the Jack. Yeah, some goods around. Zachary Wise. Choirmaster Zachary Wise, a tall old man in a long green robe, stands motionless in front of a cogitator. The closer you approach, the clearer you can hear his continuous, unintelligible whisper. You're about to call his name when he falls silent sharply and turns towards you first. Lord Captain, a visit from the rogue trader is an honor for us. Like other astropaths at the chapel, the choirmaster's eyes are bandaged over with time-worn scrolls of sacred manuscripts. Nevertheless, you can't shake the feeling that his otherworldly glowing gaze is studying you keenly. How can I be of use to you, ladyship? Sanctioning is a brutal procedure, one which robs every astropath of the gift of sight, but in return they gain a new kind of vision that allows them to see what ordinary people cannot. The light emanating from beneath the bandages flickers with strange hues as the choirmaster clutches his temple. His expression shifts in a way that you are well familiar with. It is the look of one who has glimpsed the grim signs that evil has left upon your soul. Because Azula has survived a brush with the warp phenomenon sometime in the distant past. Have you made a confession lately? The choirmaster replies, slightly perplexed. I beg your ladyship's pardon. Why are some destined to perish in the warp, while others must go on living? How odd. He grimaces as though with pain. Odd that you should have listened to my confession, and odd that you should choose to approach me. Why? I was led by curiosity. So what was your confession about? Astropaths seldom die of old age, your ladyship. Unless one thinks of the inexorable drain on our service is on our life forces as an old age of sorts. More often, the warp claims us in its cruel ways, and I have lost many a fellow. He rubs the bridge of his nose, looking tired. Death always keeps close to astropaths, and its punishments for arrogance and weaknesses are severe. I've seen my fellows die, and at times the memories are exceedingly hard to bear. Sadly, almost every choir has a story like that, and a survivor who has carried their ghosts with them ever since. Wise lets out a ragged breath. My apologies, but I cannot continue worrying at these old wounds. Directing a choir requires a clear and firm state of mind. Oh, did my nightmares scald you? My apologies, your ladyship. I sensed strangeness in you, and my mind reached out of its own accord. I do not see much, but what I did see was enough. It grieves me to know that this mark weighs on you so. Trust me, I'm well acquainted with the oppressive burden of doom. Let's see. We'll speak later, choirmaster. Business to attend to. Goodbye, your ladyship. And we finished that thing. I had completed quests. Rubble. Become the flagship's blood. It's personal request from the Battle Sister. New blood. Sheet Spirit Keeper. New navigator. Now we had to become the flagship's blood. Logic 100%. The machine uses many quills to commit the astropaths.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
Anyway, to the freight line. Let's see, a void ship is like a city unto itself, inhabited by thousands of people, most of whom are disenfranchised rabble, providing an easily replaceable workforce. The common folks' only mission in life is to toil away in the name of the flagship's insatiable demands. A sturdily built man with an augmented jaw stands at attention. The dark circles under his eyes speak to many sleepless nights, but his voice is loud and spirited. Welcome to the freight hub, LD-987/A14, Lord Captain. I'm Edok Frenso, captain of the enforcers in Lower Deck Bay, LD-A14. The Master at Arms has assigned me to be your liaison for the duration of your stay here. Lord Captain, would you like to inspect the control room? Or to begin your search for the Temple of the Bloodspun Web? He says the last part with obvious concern. Let's see. We'll speak later, choirmaster. Business to attend to. Goodbye, your ladyship. And we finished that thing. Let's see. We'll speak later, choirmaster. Business to attend to. Goodbye, your ladyship. Let's see, I'm here to inspect the entire compartment. Curious to see how people in the lower decks live. Frenzo glances at you warily. As you will, Lord Captain. Still, out of concern for your safety, I must warn you that you should avoid the farthest sections of the bay. They are ridden with disease, and the locals can be particularly unpleasant to deal with. With the kind of riffraff that dwells there, you might even be attacked. He frowns. To put it bluntly, although the bay performs its functions well, even its more civilized sections are sorely lacking in discipline. I was only assigned recently, so I haven't had time to straighten up everything up. Since doing so will require making some serious changes. I'm not inventing excuses, Lord Captain. As the officer in charge, I accept full responsibility for what takes place in this compartment. See, being assigned here almost seems like exile. Did you commit an infraction? Frenzo shakes his head fiercely. No, Lord Captain. Quite the opposite. I was commended for my service. This compartment has always been a troublesome one, and the Master-at-Arms assigned me here because she thought highly of my merits. I am honored to have earned Mistress Sauerbach's trust. Oh, rejoice, Frenzo, for the Lord Captain herself has deigned to deal with your problems. Rest assured, I will provide you some crucial guidance once I am done inspecting the bay. But Frenzo stops himself mid-protest and assumes a more compliant tone. In that case, I urge you to remain vigilant. The freight trains move at great speeds, and the inhabitants of the residential units are despicable rabble. One must never drop one's guard around them, and Emperor preserve you from stumbling into the pestilence pit. It's where the madmen and the lepers live. Be steadfast in your duties, Captain Frenzo. The Emperor protects, Lord Captain. And I'm gonna cut things off there, because the next section is gonna be a whole episode unto itself. Thank you for watching so far. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff. Join me for a stream sometime, or catch the next video, or whatever. I don't know. You do you, I will do me, but not like that.